Hi, Warriors. How's everyone doing today? Blake has a special appearance today. So, Blake, you have anything you want to cover before you have to do your CNBC interview?
CNBC, yeah, right. Good morning, Dale. How are you?
Hey, all right, man.
And good morning, everybody. Yeah, one of the downsides of living on the West Coast is we just can't walk over to the NBC studios, huh, Dale? So that's
Well,
one
they
of the
can
downsides.
do it remotely anyway.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Speaking of which, yesterday I actually did an interview on Trader Summit with Mark Dow. Mark is you
oh
guys
yeah,
may know who he is. He's
is
out
it?
of
He's pretty bearish, huh?
No, not necessarily.
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't call him bearish. He's actually pretty bullish like gold and Bitcoin, which is
Uh,
surprising.
yeah.
Nothing changes somebody like Price. He was never a gold bull, but he understands the reasons why gold's going higher. And but what he did yesterday is he explained the more of the plumbing of what is happening with the dollar and equities and positioning, and it's a really enlightening interview just from somebody who had been with the IMF. The way he explains it, he's like, I used to be parachuted into countries that needed help with their debt issues, on behalf of the United States. So the United States would send him in as a specialist to kind of look at their, a government's balance sheet basically and say, well, why are you running such a big deficit here? And so he's been to 80 different countries, speaks multiple languages, very intelligent man, but really is one person that I believe understands the plumbing of the markets more than most people. Make a long story short, you should go watch the interview. I already tweeted it. It's on Trader Summit. He doesn't grant very many interviews, so it was really nice. I haven't met him. I haven't met up with him in about a year, but he kind of shed some light on what's happening with the U.S. You know how we've been saying, hey, look, they're selling stocks, they're selling bonds, and they're selling the dollar at the same time. He thinks it's more positioning, and he doesn't think that he thinks that there's going to be a gradual diversification away from the dollar, as we've all talked about. But he doesn't
But not
think
a
that.
dollar crash.
No.
Yeah.
He like me, like I've said the last couple of weeks, I'm like, I know exactly when I'm going to buy the dollar. And now that, and ironically, I happen to be long the dollar this morning, but I know when I'm going to buy the dollar in mass is in the event that the S&P breaks through 4,800. We break through 4,800. That is where the market goes, holy shit, what am I doing long stocks right now? And if that happens, I can guarantee you, no matter what I'm doing at that moment in time, it doesn't matter where the dollar's at. The euro could be trading at 120. The euro could be trading at 108. It doesn't really matter. When or if we break 4,800 in the S&P, I will buy dollars with both hands. And even with Ryan's money, I'll buy dollars. So that's the point, the breaking point in the market that I know that I need to own dollars. And I think that's what everybody needs to understand. That simple concept is when the crap hits the fan and liquidity dries up, people will run back to the dollar. Maybe not as aggressively as they have in the past, but that's the concept that Mark was talking about yesterday, and I think it's something that we all know innately. But I'm trying to just gauge what levels that I'm going to really become a dollar bull. And like I said, it's not stopping me from buying dollars. I actually went long some dollars this morning in very small size, but already, taking positions. And if you're in the Forex Analytics chat room, you knew that about an hour and 20 minutes ago, I started buying the dollar CAD. So, and again, if you're in the Forex Analytix community, that's where you're going to find that information, not just from me, but other traders. See what K-Man's doing, what Ryan's trading here, Simon, Rick, you name it. There's a lot of really, really great traders in our community. So I've got to go do an interview really quick. I'm gonna join another show, but I do want to point out one of the other things that I think is kind of a big deal to me. Obviously the S&P failed at 5,500 yesterday. I mean, I don't know if we could have timed that any better yesterday, Dale, about resistance holding, but there's a little bit of luck that goes alongside that, but really that 5,500 level hit and held, or well, we came within a couple points, whatever. But I think Bitcoin is the other big asset class that I think we should be paying attention to. I did put in a pattern in play yesterday to be short Bitcoin. For those of you guys that didn't see it yesterday, that was a day ago. You can see it a day ago. But what I find really interesting is I was talking to Chris Weston last night on the Trade-Off Show, the Australian show that we do once a week. And he said that, Bitcoin ETF inflows were the most, like one of the highest on records. I think either the highest or the third highest on record. And so if that is truly the case, and this is all we got, and I own Bitcoin, I would be a little worried about that. So just I think that Bitcoin, as you guys have heard me say this many times over the course of the last couple months, I believe that Bitcoin's having a very big distribution pattern. This is a long-term bearish distribution pattern. So I'm, more than happy to look at selling rallies. And we came really close to 618 retracement, but I got to assume that there's a lot of selling that was trying to get in ahead of that 96,000 level. So I think you just need to watch Bitcoin here. It could probably be a good catalyst for risk. And one last thing I should also mention before I know you're going to take over with Ryan and K-Man, and actually Grega Horvat is here today, so you guys are in luck. He's going to probably cover some Elliott wave analysis in the markets. But one of the other things that I wanted to point out that's sticking out like a sore thumb to me is going to be the 10-year or fixed income, if you will. This is a really nasty. And Dale, you saw this yesterday, right? I mean, I know you saw it because I know you watch the markets like a hawk. Look at this. Look at this candle, and the that is a nasty bearish outside day, or excuse me, gravestone doji, like long upper shadow doji, whatever you want to call it. Failure above the 200 DMA in the 10-year. Really nasty candles that you see there. So my 2 cents is, fixed income, whether you're talking about the 10-year or the 30-year, they look like they might roll over at some point today. And got to think about what the ramifications of that are. So, anyway, just a few observations that I've had before I jet out for the day. So I'll see the rest of you guys.
Make me
What's
host
that?
before you
I already
go.
did. I already
Okay,
did,
thank you,
buddy.
buddy.
Yep,
All
I already
right.
did. And you guys have a great trading session. For those of you in the Forex Analytics community, I will see you on the morning edge, which is in about an hour and 10 minutes. So I'll see you guys there. And don't forget the Liberation offer, cheapest, most inexpensive month-to-month subscription we've offered in 5 years out of our 8 years of existence. So take advantage of that. All right. Thanks, guys. Good luck today.
Break a leg, Blake. Have a good one.
Hey, say that fast 5 times, Dale.
Break a leg, Blake. Break a leg break. Oh, yeah.
Gotcha.
You're right. I
All right.
can't. Not at this time, anyway.
See you
Have a
guys. Have
great
a great
show.
day. Thanks.
All right. Hey, guys. Dream Team. How are you guys? Grega,
Morning, mate.
K-Man, Ryan, all the boys. Who wants to step up and talk about something, who sees something compelling that we have to know about right now?
Oh, well, I can tell you Blake's out of trouble if he wants my money to trade because I've just checked my pockets and they're full of fluff. So,
No, you can't do that trade with your money right now.
no.
All right. Well, I just want to show this because this was dramatic. Been talking about it for a while. In fact, brought it up yesterday when we were starting to fail, but that's a big deal. I mean that's a historic day when you see gold down 200-300 and silver up $1. So can they generate one more rally? Let me take it over to Grega. Can we get one more rally in this gold silver ratio? You were looking for this too,
Yeah,
although we had one more pop.
well, if I look at silver, I think that silver is giving us a very strong message here. It looks like that it really wants to push back to these highs around what was that, around 36 or so. So I would not be surprised if gold will actually stay neutral here and won't see any new highs in the near future. if you look at gold, we can also see a very sharp sell-off actually. So I think that's the first leg, is, in Elliott wave terms of a minimum free wave ABC correction. So I think that gold could either go lower or at least stay neutral here. So I think that silver is in much better shape. So yes, I think that gold silver ratio could definitely continue lower.
Okay, so why don't we move over to currencies? Grega, you had a good count early in the week. Subscribers knew about it. You were looking for a high in the euro here. Is this just the first part of this correction to lower levels, and you sell strength there?
Well, I think that, yes, this wave 4 definitely has room to go even
Here?
lower. I would be looking
111?
for 112.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
112. That was also the high from
right here.
September of 2024. Actually, it was
Oh,
2024 highs, if I'm not
okay,
mistaken.
all the way back.
Yeah, it was the high of 2024 right there
Okay,
at
all right.
12.50 or so. So I think that that's pretty interesting zone for this fourth wave consolidation. So we are just in the middle of this pullback. We have to be patient, and I think that maybe next week we could see some first touch of the lower supports. But as you said, maybe those who are looking to trade more aggressively during the day, I would be looking for some resistance around 1.1450 or 1.15 area on a very small scale here, because I think that there can be just a wave B rally as part of this ongoing deeper correction. So I
Okay,
think that
go ahead, buddy. I'm sorry.
So I think that this euro and pound as well are taking a pause, and I think that commodity currencies are much more attractive. I think that Aussie and Kiwi and even Canadian dollar could do much better, I think, in let's say next week. We also have still quite, despite this reversal, slightly reversal lower on stocks. I'm looking at the S&P 500, and we have some gaps a little bit lower. So I think that these gaps could provide a potential support zone when I look here at futures. Just a second.
Why don't you put your chart up? I'm gonna give it to you.
Yeah, that would be easier.
Yeah.
Okay, can you see the screen?
Yeah, got it.
Yeah, so that's the gap. We're looking at the futures here, the 50%. We have the 5,300, and we know that if we zoom out, we are still basically trapped in this April's range, right? So these higher degree structures are not really useful. And in this kind of environment, I will zoom this in and check if I have anything useful on a smaller time frame. And we can clearly see that this bounce from April lows was pretty strong. So I think that that's an impulse, and this gap could actually be a very interesting support. We can see that obviously Trump and White House in general is trying somehow to are making a step backs regarding tariffs, but of course we have each day some confused news. But still, I think that markets could stay trapped in a bigger range, but at least in the near term, I think there can be some support on the next sell-off. And I would not be surprised, as I said earlier, if commodity currencies will continue even higher. I'm also looking at CAD yen versus the S&P 500. You can see that correlation here is pretty tight, right? So if the stock market would really hold that support after a dip, I think that CAD yen has also a chance that will recover. And I'm looking for a support around 102.37 here on CAD yen. And the reason why I chose this one is because if you look here, we have the potential very big wedge that basically where basically prices already spiked to a new low, and then we have seen a very sharp reversal here. So I think that's a pretty interesting price action, at least for the next few sessions, where we could start maybe moving towards the upper side of this wedge, especially if, as I said, if the stock market would really, or S&P 500 in general would really find the support down there.
What's your big picture in S&Ps now? So I see you have a C up there. I think a lot of people are going to get bullish over 5,500.
I mean, there's such a complex structure that a lot of different scenarios are possible. So that's why I'm not bringing on these views, because I'm not really sure what will happen, let's say, in the next 3 weeks. But if I have to maybe go a little bit further in time, and let's say where we could be trading during summer, I think that we could start moving closer to these highs, because if you look maybe and analyze the subdivisions, we still have only 3 waves down from the highs. So that's the most important message, at least for me. Whenever we have 3 wave structures, that represents correction. The tricky part is that this recovery is also not impulsive either. It's also corrective. So we have a deal most likely with this whole cycle from February as a complex correction. And unfortunately, this time, I really cannot gamble here and say where we are going, where are we going from in the next, as I said, 3 weeks or so.
Hard to have conviction. Yeah.
But 5,500, definitely very important level. If we can break above it, I think that we could rally here all the way back to 5,800. That would be then my next upward projection. But again, potentially very strong resistance up here. So we know that Trump has posed tariffs for 90 days, and maybe that's how long we will keep moving sideways here in these very big ranges on stocks.
Okay. Thank you, Grega. Anything else?
Yeah, maybe just last thing, gold here. I'm looking at the gold versus gold volatility. And you can see that each time when we had this massive volatility, okay, here was back in 2020, then we also got some sharp moves in July of the same year, then 2022, and again, now this month in March and April. So always when we had in the previous cases this such a strong volatility at new highs, the market has posed. Okay, and that's maybe another indication why maybe silver could be a much better metal to look for rather than gold at these levels.
Okay, there's talk that they may be buying silver for a strategic reserve. I heard that. I mean, they're buying Bitcoin. Why not silver? You know what? Why not wheat?
Why not wheat? Yes. I mean, since you mentioned Bitcoin, we also came very nicely out of this corrective channel, but we are now testing some key levels in 95,000 and 100,000. This will be very important potential near-term resistance. But after pullbacks here, we get one. I just think that this one could really start printing some higher swing lows. So for now, it looks like we have a pretty solid, at least temporary recovery here since we reversed away from these previous old highs.
Okay, so there was another sign of, and didn't Bitcoin really hold up quite well compared to the massacre we had in equities and everything?
It did, yes. I mean, if you look here, because this was all happening since start of April, we have seen what, only 16% of drop. But we have to consider that that was before that already 30% of a pullback. Some altcoins already made what, a drop like almost 60, 90, some of them even 90%, yes. So there were a lot of liquidations that happened already before this April sell-off.
Altcoin reminds me of like having a bad alternator, and I can't get my car started. Great, Greg. I really appreciate it. Going to bring in the Western European guys now. You could go back behind the wall. Oh, they don't have a wall anymore. The Soviet Union. Oh, they're reconstructing it. All right. Anyway, thank you, buddy.
Thank you, Dale.
Everyone, the wizard. Thank the wizard for dropping in some nice clarity. I think that CAD yen is, would that be supported, that position, if we could rally, the yen held that important 140 and rally back to 46? Is that part of the trade?
Yeah, I'm definitely keeping a very close eye on this one. As I said, on CAD yen, I'm watching 102.40.
Okay, I'm going to bring in our own Mr. Yen, and you know who that is.
Sure.
K-Man.
Yeah, Dale, sorry, but I'm going to have to leave.
Oh, yeah, you have to do a call. I saw that on Skype.
I kind of agree with, yeah, the yen could potentially correct a bit more, dollar yen to the top side, or any cross yen, and I'm keeping a very close eye on sterling yen actually. Around 190 looks a bit hot. If that breaks, it could push through a little, and then for the rest, as I said yesterday, I think silver is actually trying to go now. If we consolidate 33 or just above, it's probably going to go a bit higher. So that yesterday's conversation that we had on gold and on silver, it looks as if that was not too bad a call on the silver side.
Yeah, it was an excellent call, and I hope you have a good call that you have to
Yeah,
attend
thank
to.
you. See you all guys
And
tomorrow.
and Ryan, it's you and me, bro.
That's it. You and me, mate.
All right, so Euro Pound is saying I don't have to be in a hurry to buy the euro, but maybe down here, would you have some levels coming up?
Yeah, there's a very good level at 85.20, and then it's 85, 84.80.
Yeah, right here.
That's
Yeah.
if you want to scroll out a bit, go to maybe a daily or a weekly. You'll see that 85 level. It's one of those old historical levels that we hit on the way down and struggled to get through in the first instance, and then it caused a big break. Yeah, if you go back to June, July last year, you can see we had support coming in there at 85, and then it was resistant straight after.
Right here.
And
so look left. There's the
yeah,
line. And when Ryan brings these things up, guys, just draw some type of, info
stick a horizontal in there.
line.
Yeah,
Just draw it, And where was that? Was 84 and a half,
85,
right? It was right
85.
there. Yeah, there it is.
Pretty good.
Okay. So now, there you go. From a senior citizen, Americans, retired person. My hand didn't shake too bad. You ought to see
Yeah.
me try and eat, have some soup, Ryan.
Yeah, and
You'd
if you're
laugh.
colorblind, it's the purple line. If you're colorblind, it's the purple line.
All right. So, going into, the end of the week, end of the month, should we start thinking about end of month flows for next week?
Yeah, probably from maybe we get some stuff starting tomorrow. But when's it? Wednesday end of month, I think.
Yeah.
If I check my calendar,
I think it is,
yeah, Wednesday is end of month. So probably Monday will be value day in the month. So that'll be a potentially fairly busy one for fixes and whatnot. It's a normal month, not an end of quarter or anything. So I don't know how busy they'll be. We'll have to see what the models say, but yeah, you're looking at the dollar there, and I'm keeping an eye on dollar yen because I'm waiting to see if perhaps we have found a bit of a bottom, however long that lasts, because the trend this year has been down, 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 irrespective of all this tariff stuff.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say so. Yeah, dollar yen's looking interesting because we had that. I had a level at around 142, and we held that on the way down. It's probably just where your blue trend line starts.
This was like a throw over, right? And this is what I teach. When you have a throw over, you leave it alone. You don't try and bottom pick it. There were no reasons anyway. But the first candle close, I'm using 4 hours as an example. You would have gotten long on this candle close. You would have taken no heat. Whereas you'd buy it in here, you don't know. Should I put a stop in? Anyway, throwovers are great. Not if you're long going into these, you call it throw under, but they're great signals for when they're negated. So I think there's some left to the upside, and in the dollar too. This is not a great divergence here. It's 23. But I think that we could have, par and a half. This was my target from yesterday between here and here. But I don't think this is the bottom. I think there's one more low towards 96 and change. and that'll complete this whole thing. If Grega's still here, does it kind of look like that to you, Grega? That yeah, like Euro after this correction to 112. What are you looking for? 117, 119 if you're still around?
101 on the dollar. On dollar
101.
index. Yes.
Yeah. Right there.
Yeah, that was the swing low from.
Right.
Actually, it was the touchdown back in start of
Okay.
April.
So this is a 4, and then should we get one more break underneath this low to like 96? Because I was thinking that would be completion of the weekly pattern of you know, this
ABC.
1400, or it could be ABC or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the wave 1 down of 3, but it could be ABC if you're a bull,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, if you will take the distance from 2022 highs and 2023 lows, and then you will take this land and measure it down from January peak, we will
Yeah.
actually get 94.80
Okay.
or so, 95. So
Okay.
that's
You're
my,
taking this whole thing. Yeah. You're taking this whole
yeah.
thing into account.
And since you mentioned this wave 4 or this corrective rally towards 101, if you will connect your trend line support that was broken here from July of 2023, this previous swing low, and
I
then,
know you're looking at.
yeah, that could be a quite interesting resistance on this bounce.
Okay. So from here to here.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah. So we get levels around 101.
Okay.
Maybe slightly lower, but that's, I mean, 50 points.
Yeah,
Plus
it's pretty
minus.
much like that flat line support level there too. Yeah, so that's going to be interesting when we get to 95, if this is really the onset of a big bear market to even lower levels like 85 or 80, or this might be milkshake time, where if it's ABC, then you'd be talking about 110, 120, wouldn't you?
Yes, but let's go step by step.
Okay, I always try and get ahead of myself. How about you, Ryan? I live in the future. That's why I can't get anything done in the now.
Can I have
So
Saturday's lottery numbers then, please?
what's that?
Can I have Saturday's lottery numbers then, please?
Okay, yeah, I've got
exactly.
them. Yeah, yeah, that'd be nice. I'm sure there was a Twilight Zone like that. So what do you think, Ryan? Anything else? I know you like Grega likes Aussie as being an outperformer. Boy, it sure turned around from being an underperformer to an outperformer, huh?
Yeah, but it's even underperforming the outperformance because it can't get through that 64 level, can't hold it, can't get up through 64.40. So it's definitely looking in. I wouldn't say in trouble, but it's struggling.
Yeah,
You would have thought it would have been flying through like the
right.
Kiwi, but it isn't, and that's always a worry because it then goes on the clock. If you're long from 63 and a half and you're not getting through 64, you're going to think about giving up, and that's when you see a steeper pullback.
But I
Okay.
think also there are holidays, right, in Australia, if I'm not mistaken.
I think we've got an election. Is it an election? Not an election. That's Canada. Is there something coming up in Australia? Can't remember.
Australian banks are closed today, and New Zealand as well, so must be some holiday. It must have been.
I think it's Kangaroo Day.
And we've got an election
They
in a
jump
week's
around with
time.
koala bears in their pouch. You ever see that? I'm kidding.
Yeah, we've got an election
Anyway,
next
hey,
week.
we've come a long way. We're through the show. I want to thank you guys for stepping in, helping me out with everyone ditching me here. Blake is doing a superstar thing, and K-Man has to make his call to all the central bankers around the world to make sure his trades work. And for the Wizard coming in and some real interesting stuff, and Ryan solid as a rock. with his levels. So I'm going to be on the level with you guys, you two guys. You're great traders. Really appreciate being able to
Thanks,
pick your
mate.
brains
Oh, wow.
every day. So
Thanks, mate.
thank you. Part of the dream team. So, you know, it was like a daydream. We had a daydream together here in F.A.C.E, and I'm going to bring in our guests now and want to thank you guys and be talking and seeing you soon. Thank you very much, guys.
Cheers, mate.
All right, buddy. So,
Bye-bye.
how are you? So, Scotty,
Hey,
welcome back.
Coach.
Well, hey, welcome back to F.A.C.E.
Congratulations.
Do you want the screen?
You know what? I don't know if I can make this work. I've been trying. I can't find any place. Let me see. Oh, here it is, the share. Let's see if this works.
Oh, I have to stop. So if you're going to try, I stop. All right, now try. Jobless claims in line. Durable goods are strong. Thank you, Mike.
Durable goods. That's key here for the day.
Okay, so we getting a lift in the dollar?
You know,
I'm
Dale,
waiting for you.
I was following. Can you
A
hear
little
me?
bit. Yeah, I could hear you fine.
Okay, good. I originally was doing the dollar, but I've kind of been more into Bitcoin lately, only because I don't know, it seems easier to follow its movements and whatever. So
Yeah, it seemed like it was you know, much more you know, not as affected by the tariff talk. Here comes your screen.
there we go.
Okay.
Let me just get rambling here, and then we'll go. But anyways,
Okay.
I wanted to say congratulations on your retirement. When are you retiring?
When I slump over my keyboard.
I do that in the afternoon all the time.
Isn't that your plan? It could happen any day.
Okay. Well, I didn't know if it was something that was scheduled or.
Oh no, I was just kidding.
Oh, okay.
Just you know, just trying to get a reaction. Oh no, they'll retire. See, Mandy, I
You've been
fooled
doing it long
Mandy.
enough. You've earned the right to retire if that's what you want to do.
I really think so. Anyway.
All right. Let me start with Blake, what Blake was talking about earlier about the stock market, because the stock market, the things I'm most keyed into are the stock market and Bitcoin. And anyways, back what Blake said about 4,800, that is key. 3 months ago, my forecast, which is laid right out here on the screen, and although I thought the 17th of April would be the low based on Gann's law of vibration, it like the market likes to do, it came early, and we bottomed down here on April 7th. But if you look at where my key change in trend date was the 17th, we had one more day down, and we've been going up since then. I believe
new all-time high, Scott. Will you go out on
yep,
a limb if you
I believe
that's
it will
a
be.
4?
We're going to all-time highs. There's too many bears. If you look at it from an Elliott wave standpoint, January 4th of 2022 was the top of wave 1, and an Elliott wave 4s like to go back and kiss wave 1 before they take off again in wave 5. I believe we're in wave 5. This is going to be, you're going to hear the rally that everybody hates again is coming. And
there won't be euphoria.
You know, that's a hard thing to judge. It could very well be. One of the things
there really wasn't at the last high. You're pretty good with. I mean, you do work with time because your work is Gann. So for us to get to new highs, you think we're there by August?
We could potentially be there by the end of May.
Okay.
But again, this is a market that I think's going to go up into 2026. I think I got the date.
It's got legs like that, huh? Okay.
Well, I think we could be 7,500 to maybe 8,000. before this is done. Everybody's going to be shaking their head. Oh, this is bullshit.
Well, I
No.
thought I was thinking 7,200 by August, and it sounds crazy.
Well, it's very possible. You know, like you say, time is prices. The thing about prices, there's, you know, between Fibonacci extensions and all these other things, there's always many, many numbers you can look at. Time is,
Okay.
and that's why time is, in my opinion, more important.
So the guy's looking, saying that what we're doing right now is a 4, and there's a 5 to come to 45.5. They're going to be watching it all the way up.
Well, I think 4 is over. I think 4 bottomed on August or
Yeah.
April 7th.
But you've seen those counts. I mean, they're pretty prevalent.
Everybody
don't get sucked
shares,
in.
Dale.
Yeah, don't get sucked into this is a sucker rally. It's a weak bounce. You know, don't buy it, or it's going to get crushed again.
Well,
That's a narrative out there.
I do my own thing. I have time. I also have an astrological cycle that we're in, and it's not over yet, and we're going to keep going. And so between all these things and 52 years of experience, and you put them all together, and sometimes you get right. So I did a thing the other day on Tesla in terms of, I did some astro stuff on it, which is blowing my mind. This is kind of a why we could see Tesla in the next month go to near 500. It could double here. You wouldn't think it looking at what's happened with their earnings, but you know, the market has a way of, you know, deceiving everyone. So but let's get back to the main keys.
So anyway. Is it now, and I think you believe this, weak dollar, weak stocks, strong dollars, strong stocks?
Well, I tend to think that the money flows where it's going to go. And so I don't, that's I'll tell you a correlation that I found here that I think I like better than anything else is Bitcoin. The market and the Bitcoin seem to be synced. And so
they do.
And sometimes it leads and sometimes it lags, but they generally move together. And so, and that's another reason why I've been following it, because my equity stuff has my best work in terms of timing. And, you know, if you look at my chart, 4 months ago, I'm saying, hey, we're going to 4820 in the S&P. And we made a nice 5-way move down. It came early, the bastards, but that's the market. And that's fine because it hit price pretty much right at 48.32 is a number in the futures that has been pretty strong. So I think the bottom's in. We're going to have a raging, you know, and it's the small, you want to buy Russell here, the Russell type stuff here.
Yeah, you know, I saw an interesting tweet by this guy who actually said micro caps have been outperforming all the, legacy indices, and they've been crushed during this bull market, micro cap.
And the last thing that always goes in wave 5.
The trend, right. So we're going to get. So really, you buy the most speculative things for this wave.
That makes sense, because you might see the Magnificent Seven, stumble, and some of them do better than others.
That's yesterday. That's yesterday.
There you go.
So, maybe commodity related small stocks, maybe small stocks. You like the semis because I know a guy who always thought that they should lead, and they haven't made a high since almost a year and a half ago, in July. They didn't really participate in that bull move.
Well, the tech may get dragged up in the wave 5 only because it's, there's a lot of institutions that, it's like
How about oil shares?
Haven't been following oil. I think that's an economic thing, and it's just, I found many years ago that you can't. It's real easy to spread yourself too thin in markets. I mean, people say, "What do you think about metals?" Well, I don't follow metals, but to me, they look. I mean, just glancing at them, it looks to me like gold's overdone, and but money flows in and out of things. And so the real key is where is it going to go next? And I use the timing things that I use for equities. You know, the equities has like 4,000 things you can buy and sell. So I don't need to go too far outside that.
Okay. So if you were flat right now and you had cash to allocate, would you be waiting for some type of pullback here or just launch?
No, I think it's going now. It's
yeah.
I think we'll be at 5,500 today. That's a key level. That's in the ES. I do most of my forecasting with the ES. So I'm looking for higher, and it may start off slow, and then that's fine. But I think Bitcoin's going to go higher. I think the metals are pretty much, you know, they've had their run. And so that's fine. So it's time to move on. What else am I looking at here?
So what do you have price targets in Bitcoin, like 125 or so?
You know, I don't do, you know, my philosophy is this, and I've been around a long time, but the longer you try to make a forecast, the more likely it is to be wrong. So I believe there's a large amount of money that's in the markets that moves in what I call segments. In other words, they're buying like they bought that low and they ran it up and then they took their profits and they got out. Now they're looking to get back in again. I look at these 3 to 8, 10-day moves, and I think there's an awful lot of money there. And part of the reason it is it's just a basic philosophy is that bias kills. And so once you get biased, it's hard to get that out of your subconscious, and it leads to mistakes. So I look for nice little setups that I can, you know, I trade options, and so you know you can make. I mean, I bought some options in the the ES last night that I think today I could make 10 times my money on them. So if we go to 5,500, that's going to happen for me. And I don't have, you know, haven't bet the farm on it, but I got a nice little chunk in it. So those are the kind of things that, and I wait for these, you know, and I have my change in trend dates, which is the law of vibration, which I've been using a lot. And it has, when it lines up, when the change in trend dates lined up with the technicals, like kind of the things that you see on the bottom of my chart there.
Well, you have one due tomorrow.
Well, I have actually, no, it's today actually. And I think
I see 425.
Yeah, no, well, it's wrong. It's supposed to be today. The CIT is for today. And I think probably what we're going to do is we'll run up and we'll probably hit that 5,500 area where the tops were back here on that magenta trend line, and then we'll get a pause for a little bit. And the next one, I'll give you the next dates are. What you do with my glasses, Dale? There. We've got 4/24, then May 1st, May 7th, May 13th.
A lot in May.
May 20th. That's I've got Tesla for whatever reason. Looks like it should make a major change in its trend or a good trade on the 23rd of May. So that may turn out to be a high there. If the Astro is right, it should be a high, and we should hit very close to 500. Probably just fall a little bit short of it. But
where's it trading now?
I'm just talking about the Tesla.
Yeah, where's it trading now, Tesla?
Well, that's a good question. 252.
Wow, you're talking about a double in a month.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of hard to believe, but anyhow, we'll see. Again, that's the problem with price. That's a big time factor. So if it rallies up into that point, I'll sell my calls and I'll look for a short.
How about big macro dates ahead? I mean, those are a lot of dates for trading. Do you have any dates that are
Well,
big for
actually, that's what I'm
like
going
you
to do.
did for wave 4 lows? You had
Well, I think we're
price.
just up until we hit the high. We'll probably make a 5-wave rally up until the spring of 2026.
Okay.
And I do have the date, but that's kind of reserved for my customers. So
Okay.
we have a
So,
long way. We have a long way to run up. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
And like you said, it could be 72. It could be 76. It could be 8. I don't know. When we get there and the waves are complete, and the time lines up with a good change in trend date, and some other astro stuff, then we'll make a top.
And you're wrong under 4,800.
Exactly, I agree. That was the top of wave 1. It was almost textbook. I mean, look at the way that on the 9th how
No, I know. I had a megaphone. I had a megaphone I was showing people last year that had a 4,800 target. I know you saw it.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, so and that was a 4, and that we could have a 5 from there and go to 7,200 in the melt
could be. I somewhere in that 7,000 to 8,000 range seems logical.
Yeah. Okay.
But when we get closer, and I think this weekend I'm going to try to lay out the 5 waves up for the stock market. I haven't done that yet. I was just getting along in here, and so
and that's a big deal to be, because I haven't seen technically the Russell has not really taken over yet leadership. I don't see it on my charts. The spread chart doesn't look like the Russell has bottomed against the S&Ps.
let's see
Have
what we
they?
have here. Oh, that's Tesla.
Oh.
Yeah, I like that
Tesla.
breakout we had in Tesla there.
Look at that, 500. Yeah.
Beautiful long channel.
Broke out.
Broke out right here.
Yeah.
And so we're sticking around here for another day or two, and then it should take off. But back to Russell. Where's my
Nice
RQA?
charts. So for potential clients, how do they reach you if they want to follow your stuff, subscribe to your stuff?
GANtiming.com.
Oh wow, that you got that one, huh? That's pretty good. You would have thought that would have been gone. There's a
That's what I thought. I couldn't believe when it happened. So here's your Russell. It's pretty much looks like the rest of the market.
Yeah.
Once things get cooking and it's been chugging up for a while, it'll get stronger and take over. But in the meantime, I believe we're going higher, and we're basically in 1928 right now. So
okay, I've heard that before. Okay.
We got
so then that's why I thought we might be in 2087 and we peak in August. Dollar going down.
I watched that in my broker at Dean Witter. I watched that whole thing unravel. That was actually a wonderful time for me. I made $70,000 in treasury bond calls during that crash.
Yeah. That's when bonds. That's your daddy's bond market. When
well,
there was
that's
risk
when,
off and they exploded.
Exactly, and that's exactly what happened.
You think the bonds are they going to get trash, or are they going to hold together with the market going up? We'll wrap it with that.
I think that they'll be pretty much in unison. I mean, and it won't be the extent of the volatility and moves will be
so
more,
yields down, market up.
Well, I think Trump's been pushing for that, and I think that's going to happen. And I think that's another reason that if the market's kind of waiting, when they finally come out and this tariff shit gets all done, we're going to have this, this really big rally. And so I'm just loading up and sitting back and letting it play out. And the thing that happened yesterday was like in the Russell right here, you made a higher high than these highs back here. So you know, and we made a higher low than that. And what's the definition of a trend? An uptrend is higher lows and higher highs. So,
well, you guys could tell Scott's been doing this for 4 years. Right. Oh, I forgot the zero.
Yeah.
All
More
right.
like this is my 52nd year, Dale.
Wow. You
I'm
make me
almost
feel
as
so
old as you are.
young. You make me feel like dancing. Anyway, it's good to talk
Hey,
to
if you quit this, you can always go and get to Vegas and do your act.
Yeah, I could do an Elvis impersonator. There's a million things I could
Thank
do.
you very much. Thank you.
But great talking to you, Scott. Really.
All right, thanks, Dale.
And we'll have you back in around July. We'll see what's happening. We should be.
Just send me an email and I'll be there.
All right. All right. Scott Yarbrough, everyone. And yes, it's Scott is that's not his handle, but he is Baby Yoda. Yeah,
I don't know
Baby
how that
Yoda.
happened.
And it's gantiming.com.
Yeah, I was just trying to find put this in there.
So ride the bull with Scotty.
It's coming. It's coming. This is
get on
going to be
that.
a wonderful time to make money.
Get on that bucking bull, see how long you can ride it. Maybe you only have to ride it until August. See what happens here. We get a deal
one trade at a time.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're only as good as your last one. What have you done for me lately, Scott, huh? Besides call the bottom. Now, you know.
3 months ago, I said that we would bottom in April, probably the 17th.
Great call. Great call.
So here we are.
Stop copying me, man.
I'm sorry, Dale. But I thought you were retiring, and so I better take advantage of it.
Anyway, I just lurk around your account and come up with my ideas.
I hear you. I know.
Anyway, Scott, great talking to you. I
Thanks,
hope
Dale.
that you have a great run with the market, and we'll
hey,
talk
look,
this
the ES is up on the day. Here we go.
All right, here. So as you can tell, Scott is also very detached, a very detached trader. He doesn't get excited when things are going his way or fetal when they're not. So, Scott, go ahead. I could see you swinging your rope over your head right now.
Absolutely.
All right, man. Thanks for sharing your great stuff with us.
You're very welcome, Dale. Thank you, and everybody out there, and have a profitable day.
All right. So that's a wrap, everyone. Don't just count your stock indices, count your blessings. We'll wrap up the week tomorrow. Had a pretty good show today. What do you think? Scott here, the wizard, and of course, you know, our regulars, the dream team. Anyone ever been to a better webinar? Let me know. I want to check out my competition. Anything out there like this? I didn't think so. All right. Have a great day, everyone. See you tomorrow. Adios, and thanks again, Scott. Adios.